Hello everyone, my name is Connor O'Brien and presenting with me today is Hamish Johnson, Alana Monks and Ava Wheatley. This is our AT3 for ESP368, the Psychology of Sport and Physical Activity. The case study we selected to focus on was the situation in case study 4, but more particularly 5B. This case study looked at Casey, who is a soccer coach, who has had issues with his team's performance and more particularly his striker. To try and fix this, Casey has tried using tactics that he found on the internet. These have failed and Casey is now in a position where he is struggling to communicate and motivate the team altogether. We believe as a group that as a result of the situation that he is in, Casey is struggling with competitive anxiety, high levels of stress and a low self-efficacy.
To identify Casey's initial psychological issue, we must first understand his symptoms and the nature of where these exist. His current level of behaviour goes beyond just being negative towards his team members and assistant coaches. He's displaying signs of pathological and competitive anxiety, high levels of arousal, and increased doubt in his own ability as a coach. This is all demonstrated through his actions on and off the ground. For example, turning to the internet for assistance on how to help his team demonstrates his self-efficacy in this area is quite low. This is most likely due to a negative previous experience that he's had with his coach and now lacks the ability for self-development. Okay, so is there a theory to diagnose and assess the issue? Well, the mindset theory was developed in 1988 by Dweck and Leggett. It is a theory which hones in on how a person responds to certain challenges and setbacks. They state that people hold one of two mindsets, either fixed mindset or growth mindset. The fixed mindset is described as people who believe they are born with a certain level of ability and over time that does not change. Casey has demonstrated through his actions that he holds a fixed mindset. When making his team run laps, do push-ups and take part in the practice strategy, they are being punished rather than taught. In order for Casey to be an effective leader and a member of his team, he needs to change his behaviour and mindset into that of a growth mindset. The growth mindset idealises that over time, and with the help of others, someone can improve or change certain skills that they have previously failed at. It is a way to observe challenges and setbacks usually associated with failure in a positive light. Another theory that could be contributing to his negative behaviour is the Schachter-Singer two-factor theory. The two-factor theory is essentially the theory of emotion based on physiological arousal and cognitive label. Physical arousal is where the body has a heightened sense of adrenaline travelling through our serotonergic system, whereas cognitive label is the significance of emotions and why they are formed. The whole premise of this theory questions which emotion are you really feeling and who is responsible for that. In regards to Casey, when something goes well for him, he's quite happy to take the credit. But when it goes poorly or the team doesn't do well, it is blamed on external factors that have no involvement of him or his ability to coach.
The process and tools for data collection used to assess the scope of the issue. The process in which we'll use to identify Casey's competitive anxiety is through the use of 3 different tools. This process involves the tools used through motivational interviewing, smarter goal setting, and game review. Motivational interviewing will consist of an individual interview with Casey and the striker. The smarter goal framework is an effective goal setting method followed up by pre- and post-game analysis. Motivational interviewing. Rolnick and Miller, 1995, defined motivational interviewing as a directive, client-centered counselling method that enhances motivation through the resolution of ambivalence. They propose that MI has 4 core characteristics: collaboration, evocation, autonomy, and compassion. When interviewing Casey and the striker, it is a vital component of MI to involve collaboration instead of confrontation, evocation rather than education, and autonomy over authority. The AWES acronym will be the outline of the interview process. It will encompass open-ended questions, affirmations, reflective listening, and summarising. The motivational interview with Casey will consist of, but isn't limited to, these following questions. Casey, have you tried to make any changes before in your coaching strategies? What negative consequences have you experienced as a result of this? How would you like to make a change in regards to your team cohesion? Casey, what are some of the good things you like about coaching and what are some of the not so good things? Casey, on a scale of 1 to 10, can you tell me how important it is for you to address these issues you have raised so far? What have you noticed in regards to the relationship between you and the striker? Is it a positive athlete-coach relationship at all? Goals. Smarter goal setting. Casey can set performance goals which will allow him to focus on the details in his performance rather than just winning or losing. Casey can focus on the big picture of what he's trying to accomplish by the use of outcome goals. To assist Casey in setting goals, he should use the SMARTER acronym, which stands for Specific, Measurable, Achievable, Realistic, Timed, Evaluated and Reviewed. Game review. Matchday performance is a combination of technical, tactical, physical and mental performance. The game review focuses on pre- and post-game analysis. This analysis will help identify the behaviours going on pre-game, halftime and post-game. By attending game day, you can scope what the issue is and get a further grasp on Casey's competitive anxiety.
To assist in developing aims for Casey and the team, I need to first discuss with him. According to Vella et al. 2013, setting smarter goals have shown to increase the likelihood of an individual achieving them. To assist with this, I may use a 3-step problem-solving approach to Casey's intervention. To assist with Casey's intervention, I may use a 3-step problem-solving approach. Step 1 is understanding, using Casey's motivational interviewing and nudge theory to make Casey more aware of his actions and behaviours. Step 2 is creating goals and performance objectives, assisting Casey in developing these goals so that it seems he's in the forefront of his decision making of the goals, and there needs to be an agreed upon short-term and long-term goals that are underpinned by the smarter goal setting principle. According to Bergerk, Ranga 2017, using a smarter goal method is advantageous as it enables the person setting the goals to be able to self-monitor progress towards achievement. Step 3 is implementation. After the goals and performance objectives are decided, Casey needs to implement strategies in which he may achieve his goals. As Casey continues on his coaching journey, his goals will need to be adapted, which may include further refinement of goals whereby insight from coaches or players may assist in this or adapting goals so he can achieve them. The first goal for Casey is to rebuild the coach, athlete and support staff relationship. According to Evans et al. 2015, an effective coach is someone who has the knowledge of tactics and technique but also understands the importance of building the coach-athlete relationship. Casey needs to rebuild his relationship with his striker and team due to his negative coaching experience for his athletes, where he used a negative punishment to try and reinforce the desired behaviour. This will be measured through an anonymous questionnaire at the beginning and conclusion of each week and season. This can be attainable but needs to be first brought in by himself to ensure others do as well. Casey would be able to achieve this goal on his coaching journey. The timeline may be the season, as it does take time to develop a relationship, but providing weekly inputs from athletes and staff to ensure development is occurring. It's to ensure there is a buy-in from himself on his coaching development journey. The timeline may be the season, as it does take time to develop a relationship, but providing weekly inputs from athletes and staff ensures development is occurring and is continual across the season. Goal 2 is to develop and refine coaching strategies that aim to develop Casey's athletes in the best possible way. In sport, it is crucial that a coach is a leader, where they provide their athletes with challenges and their ability to succeed. According to Vella et al. 2013, the coach has a major impact on this and needs to provide positive experience in sport to ensure athletes continue. Casey is beginning to question his coaching ability and exhibit signs of anxiety and negative behaviour that is impacting the team. The scenario of the strike has made him question himself. Casey has returned to the internet and has implemented a strategy that began working but now has detrimental impacts on the team. By setting himself a goal that relates to his coaching development, he may develop strategies and approaches to training where he may see something not working and be able to change it. To measure this, Casey could begin a coaching diary where he plans and reflects on his sessions. This could assist him in developing sessions that athletes are engaged in and assist him in developing strategies that may or may not work for the team, but also individual athletes to cater for them. Casey's third goal is to embrace new challenges set out by the team and ask for assistance from players and other coaches. Casey's previous negative experience from his coach is affecting himself now. His previous experience, where he began to question his coach, can be seen to be occurring with his players currently and other coaches, which is resulting in issues in which his team is not gelling together. Casey's fixed mindset of what a coach should be like needs to be challenged. He needs to embrace a new challenge as a learning opportunity and ask for assistance from others. By doing this, it aims to transition his mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. To assist in evidentiary data to support our claims, we could use notes from Casey's motivational interviewing, notes from any goal setting, and also reviewing coaching sessions and also games. Potential timeline for Casey's psychological improvement could be between 6 to 12 months. There's some disadvantages that exist for using goal setting. So sometimes the focus may be too narrow. It's measuring success and failure. Short-term versus long-term gain. Giving up too soon and then the all or nothing approach to goal setting. And failing to realise one's full potential. Some goals could be realistic or unachievable and could be misleading. Some advantages might be provides direction for the person, sets a clear focus of what is important to them, clarity in decision making, gives the person the control, provides motivation, gives a sense of personal satisfaction when they do achieve, and gives you a sense of purpose in life.
Thank you, Hamish. So next I'm going to identify and describe our assessment processes that will evaluate the intervention that we have put in place for Casey. The first assessment process we are going to use is a three-phase system as depicted by Colton in 2006, which focuses on dividing the intervention into three main phases. Then the second is similar to the first, and again breaking the evaluation down into three parts, but this time formative, process and summative. The three-phase system that we are using includes three main phases as mentioned. The first phase is before implementing the intervention, the second is during the implementation, and then the third is a period of time after the intervention. The pre-phase will look and note about Casey and his situation before the setting of goals, as Hamish noted. Doing this will provide us with more context in relation to the issue, while also providing direction on what Casey may be required to change. Without knowledge of the issue, then a valid evaluation cannot be delivered. The during phase is the stage of setting specific goals and the initial stages of the implementation. This phase allows for a thorough assessment of the goals that Casey will set with us and specifically how he progresses towards achieving these in the first couple of weeks. The post phase is the last stage when Casey is revisited after the intervention is used. At this time, Casey's progress will be assessed to the extent of whether the intervention has been successful and the changes Casey has or has not made. It is at this stage that it can be deemed whether or not the intervention has worked, or in fact it did not, through how the team is tracking along with Casey. To find this information, it would be necessary to hold a session with Casey himself and then certain members in the team, which would then provide us with a further background. Colton 2006 supports this method by sharing how it is a way of showing whether Casey's perceptions before the interventions are remembered correctly afterwards. This is a crucial factor regarding whether any conclusions can be drawn about the effect of the intervention and the difference between before and after. The second evaluation strategy we would use would be in relation to the 3-phase system, but this time broken down into formative, process, and summative. This strategy is from the work of Barner and Govender in 2010. This strategy follows a similar sequence that is used with the pre, during, and post method. Formative is a planning phase which focuses on adaptations and processes of change. This is where an evaluability report is constructed and situational assessment takes place. The next phase, which is process, focuses on the quality and integrity of the intervention. It considers the impact of external and contextual factors on the program, and then also how we may monitor the process and the implementation of the intervention itself. And then finally, the summative part will look at the program effects that were experienced, whether they were intended or unintended. It would be at this point we would also look at the long-term outcomes and how we can continually monitor outcomes in the future. Similarly to the first 3-phase method, this process allows us to thoroughly assess the entirety of the intervention and the whole process. This will therefore inform the effectiveness of the intervention and whether it should be considered for the future use. We hope by following this process that Casey will become a better coach and can overcome the challenges he is currently facing with his team.